Hello ladies and gentlemen, An Idiot Imports is sponsored by PlayAsia, and this copy of the game you're about to see probably came from them as part of their sponsorship deal, unless I very specifically say it didn't in the video. If you want to support this series, use the link in the description to go to PlayAsia and buy an item or two. It'll help me out and increase the budget I get for import games. You can also use the coupon code BLUEVITA at checkout to save a bit of money, but it won't count towards my sales if you don't use that link. Either way, thanks for your support and enjoy the show. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. This is the third in a series of games from Nippon Ichi Software that includes Hataro no Nikki the Firefly Diary and A Rose in the Twilight. And thankfully it's better than both of them, although there are complications. So let's go and load up my game real quick. I'm about an hour and a half in and I'm about a third of the way through, but I've popped back a couple of stages for reasons that will become clear very shortly. So we'll just reload my game straight away, shall we? We'll spend a little bit fiddling around in menus and stuff because it's actually slightly important. So if we hit the start button, we can see that we have the ability to go back to the game. We can also retry the stage that we're currently on if we get stuck. And we can also skip a stage, funnily enough. But you need to have, well, you have to have not finished the stage for one, and you need to wait 10 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, it's a bit weird, but if you're stuck on a stage for 10 minutes, you can just outright skip it. That's been the case for every stage that I've been on so far. This will also include the stage that eventually made me decide to stop playing, but you'll understand why shortly. So, this is the stage select screen. You can see that I'm about a third of the way through, maybe close to half, but yeah, you get the general idea. 10 levels, then another, yeah, about halfway through. You do also have an album, which is where you can come to both read on the story of the Forest Witch, and you can also come here and see a cutscene. I will go down and I will play a cutscene for you. These also come up in the main story. Alright, I think you get the general idea. The basic point is that you are playing the Beast. The Beast was... Oh, that was actually quite lucky end of the cutscene there. You are playing the Beast. The Beast is responsible for the Blind Prince, which you can see here, going blind, unfortunately. And she felt bad, so she decided to take him through the forest to see the Forest Witch in order to, you know, save him. But she couldn't do it while she was the Forest Beast. So the Forest Beast allowed her to turn to a princess, but took her voice for her, which was the Beast's major quality and also what drew the prince to the beast in the first place. It's a very odd plot. I can't understand anything I saw in that cutscene though. I did try to translate it. I gave it a good honest shot. It makes no sense. This will come back to bite me later on. So, you also have collection here. Now, you find these little yellow petals throughout every stage. There's 5 of them on every stage, and the more of them you get, the more of this stuff you unlock. It's basically concept art. You also have your options down here, but they're just sound sliders and the ability to turn autosave on or off. I also believe this goes back to the title screen. And down here you can save and load at any time you like, but the game, as I said, has autosave. So you have... It's really generous with the autosave too. I mean, it will autosave. Like, as soon as you get past a difficult section, it will autosave. As soon as you pass by a lantern, it will autosave. Seriously, this thing will never stop autosaving. So yeah, this is Liar, Princess, and the Blind Prince. It is a 2D platformer, just like the other 2 games from this team. There are a couple of other things which are neat about it though. The one thing being that it's basically one giant escort quest. You have to take the prince along with you to the end of the level. The prince is not entirely useless, thank God. He can actually help. He will stay exactly where he is, so he doesn't go wandering into any sort of bad dudes unless you actively leave him in the path of one. Like there's one right here, which I'm going to beat the shit out of. There we go. And he also has the ability to be ordered around, and I will show you that very shortly. If I can just walk slowly across the sticky stuff. If you grab hold of his hand, which you do with the square button, by the way, I wish you could hold it. I wish you could make it so that it was a toggle and not a hold. You have to hold it down by default, and it's kind of annoying. But if you use the D-pad, you can actually order him to both walk, and later on you'll be able to tell him to pick up and put down objects. And he'll walk about yay far. It's actually quite useful for solving certain puzzles, like this one, I believe. So yes, we need to get all 3 of these switches pushed down, so thankfully we do have one little thing up here that will let us do that. And I understand this is basic, but there's a reason why I didn't go much further than I did in this game, which was the first hour and a half, and again, you will see shortly. I promise you it's going to annoy you. So yeah, there's our 3 switches. I can go and get Mr. Blind Prince again. You can also press the... Actually, what button was it again? Circle button is what does interactions with the princess, and triangle is what lets her transform into princess mode or beast mode, depending on what you need at the time. Princess mode is the only way you can cart the prince around with you, and she's about as vulnerable as he is when she's in that mode. So you do need to swap into the monster mode and take him out. You need to be a specific amount of weight, and the specific amount of weight you need to be is the combined weight of the monster and the prince. It's very strange you can't hear anything, considering how many weird noises the monster makes. You do both jump at the same time if you jump while you're holding his hand, and there's really not that much else to it. There is probably some other mechanics that get introduced later on, but there's a series of levels that I just couldn't be bothered to even skip my way through, and again, you'll understand why later, so I apologize if there are any other mechanics that aren't being displayed as I play through these levels here. I just hope that enough of them do get displayed so that you get the general idea of what you're doing. There is fall damage in this game, and of course the prince can die to things like monsters, and you do not want that. Which is why it's very useful that these mushrooms are actually like fall cushioners. Well, the game literally just saved there, so you can see what happens when the prince gets attacked. Oh, no, never mind. Just, yeah, completely ignore the prince and just go for me. Why not? It's actually kind of sad. The princess falls to her knees and starts sobbing frantically, just, you know, because she failed. She does the same thing when he falls down a bottomless pit, but it takes a few seconds, so she just stands there, and it just looks depressing. So as I said, but what the hell are you doing? So as I said before, there are little golden petals you can find. There are also, you can see a petal down there, the silhouette of one, because I've already collected this one. They're hidden around the stages. There is also the flowers, as I said, which are used to unlock the backstory of the witch that you're going to find. And that is pretty much it. Like, there's really not that much else to it. You just got to get through the levels. As I said before, you can skip the levels if you find them a bit too hard, but honestly, I feel like the game's more or less had the tutorial wheels on the whole time. And it pretty much has, because it feels the need to pop up a dialogue box or two every time you come across a new mechanic instead of letting you figure it out. Except for, like, these things. But then again, these things did show up in a story cutscene, so, you know, same thing, really. These things are kind of neat, actually. You have to time them correctly so that they'll fire at the right angle. Except firing actually takes a bit longer than you might think because of the animation of the beast. The animation of the beast is actually really slow. And there is something else that gets in the way of all of this as well, which is the performance of the game. Now, for those of you who don't know, NIS America, oh, well, not NIS America, but NIS in general, still does Vita stuff, but all of their Vita stuff seems to have performance problems, and this game looks like it does as well. Now, it's not a massive issue, but it definitely makes the game feel a lot more sluggish and heavy than it would otherwise. It's just kind of slow to respond to inputs half the time, and it can get quite annoying trying to land particularly difficult jumps just because of that. And there are some situations, especially related to these mushroom pads here, where the game will think you've let go of the square button so that the prince won't actually follow you. There was one part in the game where this was frustrating because I had to try and get the prince over like a bottomless gap, and... Huh? How the hell did he land up there? Okay, as I was saying, there was a point where I had to navigate the prince over a couple of bottomless pits while I was still holding his hand, and just for whatever reason, he just wouldn't hold onto my hand over a certain particular bouncy mushroom, and it was really frustrating. Also, this auto system is a little bit weird. You have to tell him what he has to do, and you have to let go of the hold hand button so that he'll actually go and do it. It's a little strange, but anyway, we continue on. But yeah, the platforming so far has been nice and simple. It's a decent enough concept. It actually reminds me of Dokuro, if anyone played that way back in the day. I think that was one of the first games I ever did a video on, which is an interesting thing. I still need to get around to doing that game, by the way. And by doing that game, I mean doing a proper video on it. But yeah, the general style reminds me of that, but the... Oh shit, turn around please, there we go. That hog got me once before, but he wasn't getting me again. But yes, the game itself does look rather pretty. It is pretty good looking, it's got a nice atmosphere, and some of the later levels, which I ended up looking up on YouTube, because as I said, I couldn't be bothered actually going past them the regular way. Some of the levels later on look like they are really nice on the eyes. It's all this 2D stuff here, though, and apparently it's another cutscene, which I can't skip. Also, I think it's the same one I actually put on. Well, that's just bad luck, isn't it? Alright. We'll just skip through as much of this as we can and get on to the next level as quickly as possible. Wasn't actually expecting that to play again, but I suppose it did. So yeah, now if I hold his hand, I can use the D-pad to... If I hold his hand, I can use the D-pad to order him to pick up the item. And he will do so. And then we can walk into this. And there's another cutscene. Yeah, these come up a lot. I have no idea what's going on because, as I said before, I tried running this all through Google Translate. It just doesn't translate well. The font is a bit off for the camera detection system. It's kind of annoying, if I'm being perfectly honest. Because, I might as well get around to it. The level after the level we're about to play has number riddles. It's nothing but number riddles for 45 solid minutes. I had to go and look up a YouTube video because there's no guides online for this game yet, at least not in English. And thankfully, some Japanese people actually put Liar Princess and the Blind Prince in their YouTube video descriptions. Or titles, I should say. So I was able to go straight to them and find that there was like 4 different number puzzles with like ridiculous number combinations. And I was not going to spend the time looking through those goddamn YouTube videos when I already had a pretty decent idea of how the game was playing out anyway. And how the game plays out is actually a relatively simple puzzle platformer. It doesn't really do much for me. Same way with the Firefly Diary and what have you. Funny thing is, you don't even need to tell him to pick it up. You can just slam that, which is what I'm going to do. I do have to actually demonstrate him picking stuff up eventually, but For now, we can just walk over here and jump up again. And, I mean, oh, we went up there. Right, that's gonna suck. Just flipping face plant. There are a couple of weird little things with the graphical style, though. Mainly the fact that the characters have the same animations for both, like, getting, standing up after being knocked over and jumping and what have you. It's all a little bit strange. I'm not entirely sure why that's a thing. It would have been nice if they had two completely different sets of animations to make it seem like that they were, you know, actually two different people, but oh well. So yeah, through here you'll see a flower bed. This actually comes up from time to time in the game. The princess will actually go and grab a flower, and you have to bring it to the blind prince, and once you do, you'll get that little story background thing. It's kind of cute, but other than that, it's not particularly interesting, and honestly, most of this game hasn't been particularly interesting. This doesn't really just do much for me. The gameplay is simple, and it's easy to understand, but it's just, like, I'm just finding myself not being particularly engaged by it. As I said, this is why I think the game's still got the tutorial wheels on, because it just doesn't feel particularly difficult or challenging. Everything makes more than enough sense. I guess I can be thankful for that, mainly because it's a, you know, a Japanese game, and you never have any guarantee with these as to how easy they're gonna be. But, yeah, it's pretty easy, at least in the first couple of hours, and honestly, I don't see it getting much worse than this. I mean, all they can really do is make the levels bigger, or throw random number puzzles at you. Again, I don't understand why. I know I keep harping on this, but I'm the sort of person who doesn't really like to look up video walkthroughs for anything. I felt bad when I did it for Attack on Titan 2, and I feel bad doing it for this. This is why I call it an idiot in ports. I want to rely on the fact that I've got no Japanese knowledge whatsoever. Down he goes, and there goes the princess. Absolutely mortified. I don't like looking up video walkthroughs and stuff for games, and doing so for a Japanese game just makes me feel like that it isn't really worth the time for me to go through if I don't know Japanese, and considering that you're probably going to have to look up a walkthrough for this game in order to get past those number puzzles, because trust me, it made no sense when I actually looked up the real answer. It's not grand, I must say. I'm pretty sure I left something behind here. Yeah, I did. Alright, I have to go back and look for what I left behind. I'm surprised I survived that fall, but, you know, mushrooms! Apparently they're bouncy. Trust the fungus. Oh, I can't actually get back through that. That's a bad sign. Right, I need to remember how I did this the first time. There is probably something around here that I'm forgetting. Question is, what... Right, first things first. You get off that. I jump on this and have a look around with the right stick. Nothing. No, right, I remember. I'm dumb, so right. Prince. Go over there, please. Easy. He'll live through that fall just fine. It's not a bad game, as I said. It's just... It's a bit slow and plodding, and... I mean, it's fair with the checkpoints, and it does get disrupted by the game not performing great. It's not horrible, but it's noticeable. But at the same time, it's not too bad. I just find it to be, Right, I need to remember how to do this one. So you come over... Whoops. Right. You go over there. Stand on that. I swapped the monster. Right. Oh yeah, now I get off this, and he goes up there, which lets me tell him to pick this up, and then we can use that to get through the door. Right. Just trying to remember what the bloody hell I'm supposed to do here. Alright, no, you're coming with me, and we're dead. Just almost simultaneous faceplant. Right, that's not the way you're supposed to do that. I did do this before, I swear to God. Where's the prince? There he is. Oh, whoops. Right. Right, okay. Right, you go stand over there. Now, Mr. Prince, you pick this up, please. Put it down on this switch here. Wrong button. Hold his hand. Wrong button. Tell him to put it down. There we go. Controls are a little weird, but you get used to them real quick. Jump for it. We're good. Okay, leave the prince here while I come down here, go to monster mode and whack this thing off that. And there we go. We're done. Through we... No, we're not. I just whacked it in the wrong direction. Which means I have to get the Blade Prince over to... okay, Prince. He needs to not be on the button. There we go. Hang on. If I send him off just like this, then I can grab him like that, and that doesn't actually help. Bollocks. Damn it, I swear I remembered how to do this level before. Right, you come back here. Stay there. Can I hit this thing from all the way back here? No, I cannot. Can I pick this up? No, I cannot. Well, that's a retry. Oh, I feel bad for that one. That's dumb on my part. No, you know what? I think you get the general idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the final stage that I got to, and you can see the number puzzle, because it is a douche of a puzzle to put in a puzzle platformer. So yeah, they introduced portals, apparently. Not entirely sure why they introduced number puzzles and portals in the same bloody stage, but there you go. They also introduced these things, which are boos that turn into portals. Not portals, platforms. I mean, it's basically what they are. If you get too close to them and you're looking at them... See? There was a leaf down there that I haven't gotten because chances are if you jump down there, it is to your doom, demise, death, and destruction. There are, there's two of them up there. They don't really do a really good job in hiding them sometimes. More combat. Really wish the combat was a bit more into it. I mean, it's weird. The combat in this game is weird. It doesn't really feel necessary. I'm not entirely sure why it's there to begin with, other than to give you a reason to swap to the monster a little bit more often than just needing to weigh the platform down. It's odd. Come on, Mr. Prince. And there's a lever we can pull. Hurrah! So you get to see that mechanic. Like you've never seen it before in a puzzle platformer. Here's your puzzle. And here's where you go to actually enter in the numbers. Now, I believe I remember the solution to this one puzzle from the video I was watching. Indeed, I do. Oh, it's another cutscene, and if I remember correctly, this one's actually really long. Christ, I really wish I could skip these. L and circle, R and circle, start. Select, no, none of those are doing anything. That's really unfortunate. I just started skipping these after a while because I was getting nothing out of them. Like, I don't know how we managed to help, like, a bloody monster family. It just seems that the, okay, assumedly the prince is trying to console the liar princess over the loss of her singing voice. And I got no idea on this at this point. The monster looking into its own reflection and trying to figure out what it's become. It's the modern day Shrek, everybody. Alright. Now we take his hand again and move along, and I'm willing to bet there's going to be another number puzzle just after this portal, probably. Well, I was wrong. But yeah, you get the general idea. I'm not really enthused by it. It's a simple puzzle platformer. It doesn't do too much to set itself apart. It looks nice, sure, but the downside for that is the fact that you have to deal with the fact that it makes the controls more sluggish because the Vita version's performance is horrible. I imagine when they do get around to localizing this, and this is NIS America, they probably will. I imagine when they do get around to localizing this, they'll only bring over the PS4 and the Switch versions, and those versions probably run way better than this one, which would help with the controls feeling so stiff. See? Another number puzzle. Who would have guessed? Well, obviously you, because I bloody told you. But yeah, like, Google Translate doesn't stand a chance of translating that properly in context, so I have no way of getting past this without looking up a walkthrough again, and I'm not going to, because honestly, I've seen all that I need to see. It's a cute enough puzzle platformer, but again, stiff controls, general tutorial wheels, and the fact that they felt their need to put a number puzzle in the middle of a puzzle platformer is honestly really frustrating, considering you can't actually read the hints if you're like me and don't know any Japanese. It's okay, but the fact that this costs like $56 on PlayAsia, which is where I imported from, that is way too much, and honestly, unless it's under like $29.99 when they bring it out here, US dollars wise, I probably wouldn't recommend it just because it's a bit too simple. I could see people getting this game for like $56 US and feeling really annoyed by it. That's not even including shipping, so yeah, it's not great if I'm being perfectly honest. A digital download game at like 20 bucks or less only, and even then I was just being a little bit wary. And that's pretty much all I've got, so I'm just gonna... Well, wait, no, that's the save button. I'm dumb diddly dumb, and for some reason I needed a 5-second loading screen just to load those graphics over the top of the menu. I'm not even sure why it needed to do that. This engine must really be, no, let's not go back to the main menu, let's just go back. Indeed it is, because that's, it's the same thing as up in the top right there that resumes the game. But yeah, that was a look at The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince, available now at your respective import retailer, including PlayAsia, my sponsor, and so if you wanted to buy this for, honestly, whatever reason at this point, please buy it through my link in the description. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.